Hello, everyone. We want to take this opportunity to say thank you. As you grow at the Golden Boot, so do our needs, but we cannot do it without you. We ask that you continue to like our posts, share our content, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. You may also visit thegoldenboot.com for the latest merch. If you would like to make a financial donation, you can do so through Cash App at @GoldenBoot or through PayPal at paypal.me/GoldenBoot. We look forward to bringing you more laughs, knowledge, and entertainment. And again, thank you for your endless support. Sincerely and respectfully, the Golden Boot team.
The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bear. Got my man Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, bro?
What's happening?
Not much, man. Not much. I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't know. I feel rusty. I feel like, I feel rusty. Like, we started. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, we have done episodes since we took the little hiatus, but I was forgetting stuff. Like I was sitting there, I was playing on the computer, sending text messages. Oh, shoot, the intro was over. Oh, my bad.
I was kind of wondering what was going on there for a second.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm off.
I was gonna let you do your thing. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't gonna bother you though. You know,
That ain't no bother, man. And I'm still supposed to. I've been. You know what? I told you before the show, it was something I was supposed to be doing. And I forgot what it was. And I just remember what it was. So I'm finna do it now. So I have it. I was supposed to have ready. So when we popped up, it'll be ready. But dang gone well. I'll just put it like that. I don't know, man. The kids killing my brain cells. I'm gonna say kids.
Yeah, I'm blame the kids, huh?
Yeah, they blame me. And they mama ruining my life, mom. Dad. No, I'm just playing. We ain't got them.
I'm about to say you better be careful with them kind.
We ain't got them.
We just talked about them kind.
We ain't got them kind. First of all, shoot.
Oh man.
I'm just saying. You tell us, so I brought you to the world. I'll take you out. I wouldn't take out my kids, but.
They better be careful. These days they might take you out.
Gotta get to me first. All I'm gonna say, listen, I might be big, but
just saying, man.
I got some moves.
Hey, dude, this old vet talking about y'all old
y'all old enough for the memory loss issue, for the memory issues. This old vet, I told y'all the story about Dylan. Told me one day, he's like, Daddy, in the 1900s. First of all, what you not finna do is the 1900s. You little.
He not wrong though.
He ain't, but
yeah, man, my kids ask me
1900s.
My kids ask me all the time, all kind of crazy stuff. Did I have TVs back then?
What do you know? This fool asked me one day what was slavery like. I was ready to fight him. He asked me that, bruh. No,
It ain't never been that bad. My kids was just like, y'all had color TV. It wasn't black and white. I was like, who you think I am? Your great granddaddy? Like, what you like?
no, no. So Dylan's Caleb. When Caleb was Caleb is what? Caleb is about to be 15. When Caleb was he was about Dylan age, so he was about 6. He was with my stepmom, and it was her birthday. He said, "How old are you?" And and she said 40. He said 49. He said 49. That's almost 100, boy.
Hey,
oh man. Hey, I have never laughed so hard in my life, but it ain't funny no more, man. Them things catching up, man. Them jokes, them old jokes catching up, and I feel them every last one.
I apologize to everybody that I call old who was in their 30s and 40s whenever I was like 10. Y'all wasn't old.
Every time I used to laugh at my daddy and my uncles when them knees used to pop. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Now the one is when it's about to rain and you can feel it.
Ooh.
And I used to be like, well, y'all can't feel out, and I apologize for not believing y'all.
Yep. All them old saying smell the rain and stuff. Yeah, I do. Speaking of old, let's talk about
country right there. That's just country smelling rain.
Yeah, you can't smell the
I know. I'm country enough to know you can smell rain now.
Matter of fact, I know. I'm gonna tell you how another I know I'm getting old. I love the smell of fresh cut grass.
I ain't got that yet.
I'm telling you, it's been times I've been like, you know what I'm saying, like
new car smell that.
Like now it's getting close to springtime, and well, it is springtime now, but it's getting time to start cutting that grass again. I've been looking at, I mean, put the hands on the hill.
I'm like,
yeah, it's time to edge it up.
I mean, the smell of grass it messes my allergies though, so I mean that's probably why I don't really care for it. But I know what you mean though. But I'm not really a big lawn guy, if you know what I mean. I'm not one of the ones who competes with the neighbors.
When I first got the house, I was a lawn guy. I ain't a lawn guy no more now. I got to deal with HOA. But anyway, speaking of old stuff, let's talk some baseball.
Boy, you petty. Boy, you petty.
Nah, I just play it, man. We know how baseball is. But hey, you know what I'm saying? We brought them back, y'all. Y'all was asking for them. One of your favorites.
The guy.
The baseball dude. Julian, the baseball dude Romero. Welcome back to the Golden Boot. What's good, Julian?
I'm slipping on my job. I'm slipping on my job.
You got it.
What's good?
He doing 30.
I had to do the Randy Rosarena pose. I had to do it one time.
Yeah.
Salute to Mexico, third place. Still broke my heart, but y'all made me feel good for a while.
At least y'all didn't lose to the United States, huh?
No, we put a whooping, if you ask me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Julian, man, first off, man, how's it been since the last time we talked to you, man? I know we kind of talk in chats and stuff, and but how you been, man?
I've been good. Can't complain. Been good.
We're watching a lot of baseball, I'm assuming.
Yes, of course. You gotta stay on top, especially with MLB coming around.
Yeah. You been watching spring training too, or you just been watching the WBC?
Actually, I went to a spring training game on Friday, so I actually got to see the new rules, see the bases, and I think it's going to be a lot of changes here.
Yeah.
I will say, because I know we talked about the new rules a little bit last time you were here. I think it's going to affect MLB a lot more than it affects college, as far as like the in the box, out of the box stuff. I saw one where the pitcher was he wasn't even on the rubber. He was kind of fiddling around. The batter was waiting. And the pitcher got on the rubber. As soon as he got on the rubber, the batter got in the box, set up. And I mean, the batter was set up within 3 seconds. The ump rung the batter up and said time. but he technically the batter still had to wait on the pitcher. But as soon as he got in the box, time. It was like he was counting against the batter, but he wasn't counting against the pitcher. So I think it's going to affect bat. It's going to cause a big problem.
Yeah, it is. I kind of saw the setup behind the next to the batter's eye. There's like the pitch count for. There's a clock there for the umpire and the hitter, and then behind the backstop, there's one for the pitcher, so he could see. So I was looking at it, and I was like, okay, how's this going to work? And sure enough, a dude hit a foul ball, stepped out really quick, came back in, ready. Pitcher was still like walking around, and he kind of knew the time limit. So by the time he got there, he didn't get penalized. So I was like, okay, like this pace is going to be really fast.
Yeah, very, very. World Baseball Classic. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch one single game. I saw the highlights, saw the, you know what I'm saying, saw the close scores and stuff, read up on it, but I didn't watch the game. I'm not. Yeah, I know. And everybody keeps saying that.
Yeah, I got David Irvin said the WBC was really good this year. I haven't been into it like this ever. I think this was the best one ever. I think they got it right. Not just the fact that most of the games were really close and competitive, but the atmosphere. It was like a like college baseball, like super regional type of atmosphere. You know, for every game, it was, you know, people standing up every pitch. You know what I mean? And it was loud, man. That's, I think, the best way I could describe it was just loud. And you don't see that excitement anywhere else in professional baseball, in America at least, until maybe the playoffs. And even then, it's kind of sparse. So I think that was, to me, that's what stood out to most. It was just the atmosphere and how passionate everybody, and even the American fans, how passionate they were for the WBC and how into the games everybody was.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like if you think about it in Tokyo, I think it was in Tokyo where they had the cheerleaders on top of the dugout with the mascot, with the music playing, and then you have in the Chinese Taipan, the Cuban guy with the air horn. And I remember everyone's like, "Oh, he's annoying." I'm like, "No, like that's how they play." Yeah. Then you got the Group of Death in Miami down there where it was party like every day. They brought bongos, they brought the like the cowbell things, like it was just loud. And then you in Mexico, well, the Phoenix one, it was pretty loud because you had Mexico, Canada, US. Like it was a good environment. It was good to see the baseball like that now, but it's gonna come to a sad realization that it's not gonna be like that no more during the regular season. And then there was one with Venezuela versus the Dominican Republic where the pitcher had his jersey unbuttoned like halfway. Basically, he just only had one button to hold it on. He struck him out. He's fist pumping. He's going like that. And someone's like, why can't we have that in the MLB? He's like, is he going to do that in August? Or is he going to do that in March? And I was like, man, might as well. Like, they're doing it now. Like, that's how they play with passion. So that's the only thing that's going to be different when you go into the MLB.
So what was your I guess your biggest takeaway from the WBC? Like, I know everybody's talking about today, at least everybody's talking about the dream matchup we had to end the game last night with the teammates going at each other and Ohtani throwing straight gas pretty much to Mike Trout. But wait, what was your biggest takeaway from the WBC?
That basically was kind of like a balanced team. You saw in Pool D, who would have thought Venezuela would have been the pool winners? You know, it was the Dominicans and Puerto Rico who were the favorites, and Venezuela swept them. You also have the nice story, the Czech Republic. You know, their starting center fielder is a history teacher. Their manager is the orthopedic surgeon, and their closer is a fireman, which is kind of like ironic because he puts out the fire. And you just like, you had stories like that, and you had Team Italy in the dugout having the espresso there for their like as a wake me up. So everything fit with the culture. Like, and I know we saw like Ohtani, he showed celebrations during the Mexico game when they're down, hit a double. He showed emotion, like get up. Just seeing the fans going crazy. I think Rosarena just going off crazy with his his pregame playing, hitting BP and shagging fly balls with his boots. Just like so much fun. And I know like we had the injuries, but like they asked the Dominican players, six of out of six of them, five of them said, "What's more important, winning a WBC or a World Series?" Five of them said winning the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah,
and
everybody said that.
Yeah, and for like the World Baseball Classic, where a lot of people don't know, this was made because the Olympics cut baseball out of it. So and they only allowed amateurs to play, so a lot of them never got to play for the country unless if you're like a U18, U20, or the college team. And they allowed professionals to play. 2006 wasn't a strong showing for the U.S. They actually got embarrassed, and then you saw like Derek, David Wright, Derek Jeter, Ken Griffey Jr., who was playing on the team, Mark DeRosa was also playing. Like you're seeing a lot more stars coming out and playing for their country because it means more when you win and you can hear your national or at the beginning of the game you hear your national anthem, hearing your fans singing it, like you get chills just off that, and that's like that World Cup vibe. I think 2026 it's gonna be even more. I would like to see the U.S. like Max Scherzer or like younger guys pitch to bring that flame so that the U.S. could win. Just it was overall a great experience. I liked it.
Yeah. So one thing I did see was and it was like touching was the seeing all the players standing around watching Ken Griffey, old man. And I know we joked about getting old and stuff, but old man. Ken Griffey taking batting practice and everybody just standing there in awe, like watching him, man. That was like so pure, man. It was just, I really enjoyed that part of,
To me, the biggest takeaway, other than Ohtani is the greatest baseball player alive right now. I don't think there's any debate about that.
Active player.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, he could end up being the greatest player of all time, bro. Like he's that good. I know this is a topic for another day, but I think he deserves 2 contracts when he gets his next payday. And one as a pitcher, one as a hitter. He's that good. Ooh. But anyway, I say this. Other than that, Trey Turner was a man on fire for this entire classic. He had probably the greatest classic we've ever seen. Japan is back. And if there was any question of whether or not they were ever going to, bounce back and be back at the top of the world again, they're back. And I think some of these smaller countries, you talk Czech Republic and Italy and some of these other countries, I think they're catching up quicker than we think they are. You don't see as big of a gap between the top guys, top countries, and some of the smaller guys as we've seen in the past. So I think it's as much as in America we talk about how baseball is dead and it's a dying game. I think across the globe it's not necessarily the case, and that some of these other countries are actually growing the game and getting better and kind of catching up to where we're at.
I agree. I think also another thing too is like the future for baseball. Because if you look at it, I saw a video. There's a little kid in Mexico. He hit a double. Instead of celebrating, he celebrated his team and he did the Rosarina. He just crossed his chest and he's like, "Get big." And then Eddie Rosario, after he hit his home run against Mexico, he did the step back like Luca, and he shot it, and everyone going crazy. Used the Bad Bunny song, and then seeing little kids from Puerto Rico do the same thing before they get there. Step back, shoot. Like, we're starting another youth movement where they're going to be the ones to carry it in like 2040, 20, and so on and so on. They're going to be the ones. They're playing with the passion too, with kids. And then also too the Nicaraguan guy, I don't know if you guys heard him, he's 21 years old, only played in Nicaragua. He showed up against the Dominican Republic, struck out Juan Soto, and then he got signed by the Tigers. Like that's what basically that's kind of like the American dream right there. And then earlier today, Mad Dog said like, what was the hype about Ohtani and Trout? And then this guy who works for ESPN, Jeremy, I think his last name is Wu. He said that's the problem with baseball. We still have older heads that are still trying to like, well, what's the big deal when it's basically the two biggest players on the same team facing against each other. And that the fact that it's helping that baseball is America's pastime, but it's showing that it's worldwide now, that other countries are stepping up quick and they're catching quicker.
Yep.
So it's making it more exciting for that.
Yeah, I mean, in the NBA All-Star game, everybody made a big deal of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown going at each other, whenever toward the end of the game. And I mean, that is a big deal since, teammates, great players, but neither one of them are Mike Trout or Shohei Ohtani of basketball. You see what I'm saying? So it's bigger than what we saw in the All-Star game because it's for arguably the biggest baseball title that you can win in the world. And so I don't see how you can ask, how is that a big deal when you have the greatest two players in the world, arguably, teammates in the regular season representing their countries on the biggest stage. I mean, you couldn't draw it up. If Hollywood made a movie, we would say that it was, unbelievable, that's unrealistic, but we got it last night.
And the fact too, it was like, sorry to cut you off, man, but it wasn't 3 pitches and like, we'll see you later. He worked a full count, and he threw his best pitch to get him out.
Man, and he threw gas, man. It was like the first pitch was kind of off speed. Then it was 5 straight 100-mile-an-hour pitches. Then he
slowed him down. And I was telling my coworker,
outspeed out corner, man. It wasn't nothing. You couldn't do nothing.
Couldn't touch it. And I was telling my coworker, like, baseball's a cruel sport. You get that leadoff walk by McNeil. You think things are gonna go your way. Mookie Betts squares it up right to him, and 2 outs right there. So that shows how cruel baseball can be.
Yep. And not to mention that, people talk about what's the big deal about it. Mike Trout had only struck out with 3 swinging, 3-stringer strikes like 3 times in his career, and then he did it last night. So I mean, you don't see that, and to see it happen by his teammate for that, I mean, that's just. But yeah, Ohtani, man, that dude.
He's a dude.
He's different.
So we kind of talked about it, so I just want to put it out there. USA loses by 1 to Japan, 3-2. It was actually 3-0, 3-1,
3-0, 3-1 by Turner home run.
It wasn't 3-0. It was
it was 1-1. 1-0 US.
It was 1-0 US. Then the next,
and then 3-1.
Yeah, Trey Turner hit the solo in the second. Then the bottom of the second, Japan hit a solo, and then they scored on a fielder's choice in the third, and then they hit another home run in like the 5th or something like that, and then US scored again in like the 7th or the 8th.
Yeah, Alonso hit a home run, a solo home run, 3-2.
And Schwarber hit the home run for it was both 2 Phillies players hit home runs last night for America.
Oh yeah, Schwarber.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, chat? Shout out to Dave. I know we spoke earlier. It's old vet. Trey, what's good, fam? Good to see you back. Jordan says, talking about WBC, say he loves it. Then he said this guest is sharp. Bring him back regular, man. You don't know Julian? You got to be in them Twitter spaces with us, man. Julian been on it, man. So, but yeah, Julian, he definitely have him on. And we call him the baseball guy. Julian know other sports.
Definitely.
He definitely know other sports, but we call him the baseball guy. And what's good? Tyler said, what's up? He said, let's go, Julian. So
let me ask you,
Tyler be in those spaces. I just want to say.
Oh my bad. Well, yeah, Tyler do be in those spaces. But Julian, we talked about the atmosphere of the WBC and how it's not gonna translate to the regular season of the MLB. What can the MLB do to try to capture some of that?
Before you answer that, I'm gonna tell you something somebody else said. You know what I'm saying? Looking at Twitter, which is a very reliable source, but now looking at Twitter, that same question you asked Ant, somebody said is because they have 161 games. That's why it'll never be.
I disagree. I mean, obviously, I want Julian to answer, but in my opinion, it's the unwritten rules that the MLB still uses to police itself.
I believe that's part of the problem. I think it's just, to be honest, I think it's a culture thing. If you look at the Venezuela, like the Caribbean series, it's popping from the first pitch all the way to the last pitch. the Korean, like in the Korean league, in the Japan league, they're just there like into it from the very beginning to the last out. In the U.S., like here, like I know there's some places where they have horrible parking. By the time you get there, it's already the second inning. The pace of the game might be slow, but I know this year it's going to change. It's just I don't know because when you show like we talked about this early in the summer too, man. Like we said, the MLB slogan was "Let the kids play." Well, we let
Mm-hmm.
them play and they do the backflips, and they're like, "No, no, no, that's not the
Exactly.
way I do it." And
Exactly.
so it's like, well, how do you express to show yourselves when literally on Monday the whole Japan dugout was telling everybody, basically sending them home. You didn't need a third base coach. Everybody in the dugout was telling them, "Go home, go home." And in that, you only get that environment like in the postseason, like loudness like that. Maybe the postseason during a regular season game, not really to start off. Maybe to like July, June, July when school's out, there's nothing to do. You can go like that. But as to like rowdiness, because the Marlins talked about it. Their former GM, David Sampson, they're like, well, let's recreate that, and they did. It's just they don't show support. It's different when you represent when you have a Cuba or Puerto Rico or Dominican, Mexico, whatever you have on your front shirt to represent your country. Like it's different.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. There's a different pride when you play for your country, so there's more emotions that come with that. But back to like the let the kids play, and you got the Tatises and all these guys, who doing the bat flips and all the antics or whatever you want to call it. But then the next time they get up the bat, they getting hit. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Or you dealing with all of these questions in the media about it, and all this other kind of stuff to where you're kind of basically discouraging players to do it in a sense. But in these WBC environments in the Cuban series, I mean the Caribbean series and all these other Latin American series, you have it's encouraged. You know what I mean? They
Mm-hmm.
almost want you to do these kind of things, and so I think the culture of the MLB and the way it was brought up as a gentleman's game and all this kind of stuff, I think that hurts because we're kind of not encouraging players to really be themselves. So even the ones who want to do that, like Tatis and some of these other Latin American players, they're Acuna and all these these other young guys, they're not allowed, they're not given the avenues to be able to do it. So even the ones who would and would help grow the atmosphere and stuff like that, it's getting stifled. So they don't even have the opportunity. So I feel like MLB and the whole, non-written rules and stuff like that, that's kind of holding themselves back.
I agree too. Like the Netherlands, they did the Cristiano Ronaldo after the home run. They did the C, so he'll jump up and he'll see what Ronaldo does. Like that's cross culture. And the only one person that I could think of was Acuna, where he did Trey Young, where he does the shiver.
Yeah.
He does that a couple times, but I mean, it's very rare. Like when he does it,
But even that,
because
even that's like it's something real small to where you can't really, you know what I'm saying? You're not anybody up. You know what I mean? But if Tatis looks at a home run too long, or if you know what I mean, or if he sticks his tongue out after he hits the home run while he's running the first base, it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like there's
yeah,
such the small little things that become big issues in baseball.
it is.
So is this more on the with the celebrations and the quote unquote unwritten rules? Is this more on fan backlash, media backlash, or just kind of player on player?
I think it's
Oh,
all three.
mm-hmm.
Because you could be an opposing team and you hit it, I might stare at it and then I'll start walking. You get the fans heckling, and then you'll get some of the players. Like I know the Miami Florida series, the Florida catcher would stand in front of home plate, like try to block it, and like they would shove him, like get out of the way. Like
Yeah, I think top three. I think, like you said, it's the fans who heckle you about it. Then you have certain media who not ne- I'm not gonna say attack you, but criticize you in the media for it. And then you have players who will retaliate or who will, try to show you up the next time themselves or whatever the case may be. you have certain players like I know Trevor Bauer. When he was playing for the Dodgers, they asked him about it. He said he don't care. He was like, it's hard to hit a home run. You know what I mean? So when you hit a home run, you should be able to celebrate a little bit. It's hard to strike guys out. So when I strike guys out, yeah, I'm gonna show some emotion. You know what I mean? So he was, and you have players who feel that way and who aren't, who don't have an issue with it, but you have other ones who grow up so much ingrained into that baseball culture to where they feel like it's a you're breaking one of them unwritten rules. And you have fans who are brought up in that baseball culture who have an issue with it. You have old school writers who've been in that base. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's not necessarily who is the issue. I think the culture, the baseball culture is an issue. And I think that's part of it. And I think the MLB kind of realizes that, and they've kind of, in a way, I think they've trying to made these rule changes and stuff to kind of get away from the old timiness of baseball. They're trying to speed the game up. They're trying to do more things to fan interaction and all that to make the game younger. Because if you make the game younger, you have less people who really know all the unwritten rules and who have the issue with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask this question because we talked about Ohtani and how great he has been, MLB and in the, saying WBC. Are we starting to see the return of the two-way player? Because we starting to see now in college, you're seeing more guys who pitch and hit.
Nope.
I think you're seeing the start of it. It wasn't like in college. It wasn't really that like accepted. It's either you're a pitcher, and then we might be like if you throw hard, you'll be a closer, but you'll play a position player. But now you're seeing the start of it. Like Jack Callahan for Florida, he's doing it. I know there's other kids around the program, like all across the country, that are starting doing it. Like you're starting to see it now, like because he was successful. Like now this could happen. Like Babe Ruth, he only did 2 years, and after that, he continued. He just stayed a hitter. Ohtani year 3, still pumping 100 and hitting like over. Like it's gonna be now a thing to you're gonna see from now on. Just in case, like if I don't do well on the mound, I could hit because there's like Rink Ankiel, he was a starting pitcher, and then he couldn't find it, and he made the transition to defense,
which was funny because he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. He couldn't find the strike zone. They put him in the outfield, and he'll throw you out from, saying from deep. So yeah,
but we used to have the opposite too because Trevor Hoffman was a shortstop at the University of Arizona. He just couldn't hit. So hey, let's see if this or you could pitch. Made a career out of that.
I get what you're saying, and I think we'll see more people try it, but I don't think it's gonna last. Because I don't know how many people can do it like Ohtani can, bro. Yeah. You gotta realize this dude is he pitching once every 5 days, bro. Like he's not doing the normal pitching stretches and all that. You know what I'm saying? He's just picking up a ball every 5th day and going and throwing gas. You know what I mean? And like I don't know how many people can do that. So I just don't know how many people will be able to do what Ohtani's doing. I'm sure people will try, but I don't know how many we'll see be able to do it.
Biggest reason why I asked, we know the kid from Florida, Julian mentioned Paul Skeens. We hadn't seen Paul Skeens hit at LSU yet. We know he can, but we hadn't seen him hit yet. And we definitely know he can pitch. So I was just wondering if that was something we might start seeing, because I know we've seen like Julian said, the guys who play a position didn't come in and make close. So
Chad Jones type.
Yeah, Chad Jones, the guy from Florida State that did it against LSU a couple years ago too. So
I just think it depends on the situation too. Like example, Paul Skeens. He's your Friday night guy. You're not going to want to risk him. While I was in Florida, the Jack Callahan, he's their Sunday starter. He hits Friday, Saturday, and he'll still hit on Sunday. But he's your third guy. You have the guy from Southern Miss, and then that other guy. I forgot his name, but he took a complete game against Alabama on last week on Thursday. So I just think it depends on the situation where you're at.
Yeah. That's a good.
All right. College ball. Conference play has begun. Julian, what have you seen in conference? Like, is there kind of been somebody who stood out as far? I mean, I know it's only been 1 week, granted, but has somebody stood out to where maybe, you know what I'm saying, you're like, oh, you know, this kind of, I wasn't expecting this.
Missouri, I knew Missouri swept Tennessee. I knew they had the potential when they showed that the showcase in Arlington when they beat TCU, they beat Texas, and I think they put up a good fight against who was their third opponent? Texas Tech. Yes, Texas Tech, I think. No, it wasn't Texas Tech.
You said Mizzou. Let me look it up.
That's the first one. It was Vandy. For the SEC, it was Vandy, Arkansas, and Mizzou. Big 12 was TCU, Texas. I want to say Oklahoma. Was it Oklahoma?
It was TCU was the third one they played.
What was the first? What was the first?
Oklahoma State was the first one.
Oklahoma State. Okay,
yeah.
Oklahoma State. Yeah, so they showed a good showing there, and then they kind of like went down, and then they just swept Tennessee, which they had Chase Dillinger and Chase Burns. Like they rocked them. They put 4 spots up early, knocked them out of the game. I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, they're sitting at 16-3 right now. So
I think another team too is South Carolina. They're 19-1. And then they're hitting the ball too, but they're third in the nation with ERA. I think had like a 2.56 or 2.58. They have a low ERA as a start as a whole staff. So I was kind of surprised by them.
Yeah. Yes. So who's been other than Tennessee? Who would you say was the biggest disappointment so far?
The biggest disappointment. I think it's too early to tell because it's been the college baseball this year has been a lot of parity. You had NC State who was undefeated. They came to Miami. They lost 2 out of 3. They lost the midweek again, so they started going down. Virginia Tech was another team from the ACC who's really high. Went to Miami. They lost the series. So you're seeing a lot of parity. Campbell sneaked in this year or in the top 25. You saw who else in the top 20? Grand Canyon. They stayed consistent. They didn't show like they were one-hit wonders after they beat Tennessee. Like they continued. They're playing against Arizona State today. They were supposed to play yesterday, but bad weather, so they moved it today. I think another one I was kind of surprised was Washington State. They took the series from Oregon State. Oregon State kind of disappointed, but Oregon State comes around when they need to come around.
They always do, unfortunately.
Yeah. We always talk about and no disrespect to any team, but we always talk about the big boys. We always talk about those teams that are Power 5. And I know you mentioned Grand Canyon. You mentioned them when you were on before. They beat Tennessee as well, if I'm not mistaken. You just mentioned them again. What's another favorite mid-major team that you like so far? That somebody who will pop up in a regional and you would not be surprised.
I think Campbell has been. Okay. You think that they would always sneak in? They gave Tennessee a hard time last year. UCF, they actually went up to Clemson and they beat them this series. Instead of showing what they did, they went viral because they went down to Death Valley and they ran down the hill. For a lot of people don't know, after the Sunday game, they take them to the football stadium so they could shower before they head on to the team plane. So that's why they were there. UCF, Greg Lovelady, alum, he's done a tremendous job there at UCF. So I wouldn't be surprised there. Other mid-majors, I mean, I like what Texas State has done so far. They beat TCU in a midweek last week. They beat them 8-4. They have a lot of power guys. That's a team to watch, especially now because Southern Miss is in their conference. It's going to be a good battle. I think they played last week.
Man, that Sunbelt is loaded with some.
Yeah, especially baseball. Yeah,
baseball.
That's a great baseball conference when you add Southern Miss to it.
Yeah, because I used to out of high school, I went to my first 7 freshman years. I went to I went to South Alabama. Baseball. That was a big deal for them. Softball was kind of up there too. But yeah, since I knew that conference was
you got
loaded.
Georgia, you got the Georgia schools, Georgia State, Georgia Southern, you got ULL, and you add Southern Miss to that. Marshall, which is a decent baseball school. So yeah, they've definitely always had good baseball and have gotten better with the addition of those other two schools.
Yeah. Man,
Let me ask you.
Go ahead.
While we're talking about the mid majors, one of the mid majors who normally on the scene nationally is East Carolina. What's up with Cliff Godwin's bunch this year?
I actually graduate them to like a mid power 5. Just because they've been so consistent. I know they've been doing pretty well. I know they broke out with new purple, like light purple uniforms, like
I saw that.
all purple.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty good. I like it. To me, they graduate. Like they built a consistent program. Now it's just keeping that coach there. You want to talk about atmospheres? That the jungle out there in the outfield in East Carolina, that's a place where, as opposing team, you don't want to play because it could get hostile really quick.
East Carolina has won me some money this year, so they on my good list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You think that they'll be back hosting the regional this year again? You think?
I believe so. Yes, just so long as they get in the top 16, they'll be fine. And no, in basketball, it's kind of like basketball in February. They release like their top 16, so the top 4 seeds. But this year, in May, like around close to May, they'll announce who the top 16 teams are. They just won't say who the top 8 are yet.
Yeah.
Just for like curiosity, but if you're some teams, you kind of know who you are.
Makes
like
sense.
Tennessee last year was the obvious.
Yeah.
Miami last year was kind of fighting for it. They started pretty well. They struggled towards the end, so they thought they were going to lose it. Committee gave it to them. So there's pretty good ones.
Yeah.
All right. Player wise, has anybody stood out like player wise that's kind of maybe I don't know if you say leader in the what's it called, Golden Spike?
I think Jacob Wilson from Grand Canyon State, he's leading. I saw he went off against their series against Sac State. They took 2 out of 3. He's just their dude. He's a Golden Spikes finalist for Master as well. Paul Skeens is probably going to be one on the mound.
Yeah.
And also from, I think Jack Callejon too, which is what he's doing. He led the nation at the beginning of the year with home runs as doing his position player as well too. So those 3 are the ones who stick out on my mind. I know I'm missing others. I mean, obviously Dylan Cruz as well too. He's just going to be up there. I think it just this year depends how the committee is going to look at it. Last year, Ivan Melendez won it last year. He did it as a first baseman. So that's that one for them.
Hey, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I just want to let the audience know these questions we asking Julian, we did not see him ahead of time. So all this stuff he's pulling off the dome. That's why he's good. That's why we call him our baseball guy. Yeah.
Is that kid from Texas State the best freshman in the country right now?
I would believe so. I mean, it's kind of biased just because I'm in the state of Texas, so I'll say Texas State. But I mean, I gotta look. I gotta do more homework. I gotta check to see that Jack Callejon. I think he is a junior, if I'm not mistaken. But for him, yes, he didn't even start. Actually, I take that back. The guy who kind of competes with him is from Grand Canyon. His name's Cam York. He plays first base. Didn't play the first 2 games, and he just went off. I think he already has like 10 home runs for Grand Canyon. So those 2 are up there in home runs. But I mean, I like both of those guys.
Yeah.
LSU has they took down Central Arkansas yesterday. They got Arkansas coming to the box this weekend. What do you think about that matchup?
I think it's gonna be a tough matchup. You know, Dave Van Horn, good program there at Arkansas. It's consistent. It's never where you're gonna be in rebuild. It's always gonna be we're gonna continue from here on. You're gonna bring in guys and they're just gonna fill in. They did do some of their starters. I was kind of sad to see that Horton, one of their top relievers who throws kind of like 3/4 sidearm, he's not gonna be available. He was injured for UC, and then they lost another starter as well. But I mean, they have guys who just come in. Who's next? So it's going to be a tough one. I think Paul Skeens is going to do well on Friday. Like he's shown you his first SEC start in Texas A&M. He silenced the crowd there at the 12th man. Didn't let them get involved. They're going to do well. I want to see Ty Floyd and Thatcher Hurd get rebound from their starts. They didn't go deep as they wanted to, but I also believe too they're like because there's been so much flux in the pitching rotation, they haven't got their feet wet, like their feet settled in. I know Thatcher Hurd started on Tuesday, but it's a different jump from Tuesday to a Sunday game, especially his first game in the SEC. I know he played in the Pac-12. He played great competition there. But I mean, SEC is it's different. The crowds are going to be different. Everything's just different about that. So I think he's going to rebound. It's a home game for him too. You don't have to change the routine, set the same themes, like it's the same park. So I think I would like to see those guys maybe give me 5-6 innings and let the bullpen do the rest of the work.
How much of the fact that LSU has had so many run rule games has affected the way the staff has kind of, you know what I mean, been able, because they haven't all been able to get working as other teams because they've had so many games get cut 2 innings short.
I think it's helping them because at the beginning you want to set like a certain pitch count for some guys. You don't want to blow out your arms so quick. And because we've seen some injuries that's happened like right away, like Arkansas, like throughout Ole Miss, Hunter Elliott, like he has to wait some time. He won't come back until April. It's gonna help him out, get that arm get back in. I don't know why. Like we have a lot of arm problems. I mean, I do know why the practices are kind of like dumb for the NCAA. Just let them like start earlier. But I mean, the NCAA, it's up to them. But I think it helps them. It gets guys in. They kind of see who I want. We could throw them in different situations in the game, see how they react. And when it comes to SEC play and postseason play, like I could trust this dude. This is my guy right here. Yeah. Like I think was it Riley Cooper who was starting on Saturday games, so he could show you like he could be your long inning guy if you need him. Like if like someone gets rocked in the second inning, he could go from the third all the way to the sixth. Maybe he could give you 3-4 innings. It's a lot of matchup to see who's who. So I think that's perfectly fine. I know like maybe. Like, yes, like you want to play the full 9, but I mean, it's good to get those games done early too.
Yeah.
Save the body.
Now you're overusing the arms. That's a good point.
All right. What matchups do you like besides any we may have already named? Is there a matchup you like this weekend that you want to see or you looking forward to?
Not out of the SEC. Obviously, I'm a Miami Hurricanes fans. They go up to Wake Forest. They consider the best pitching staff. Me personally, I thought it was Tennessee until they got shellacked. But I mean, I still hold Tennessee up high from the numbers last year. They're going to bounce back. It's baseball. You're going to win some. You're going to lose some. That's also life too. So I like to see that. I want to see how the hot bats right now. CJ Kafis last week, he won the perfect game. He won Player of the Week for everybody. He was 10 for 16 with 3 home runs, 3 walks, and I think 8 RBIs.
Jeez.
So yeah, he continued it today. I think he had a 3-1 home run. They beat FAU today 10-5. So I mean, I want to see how he does against their pitching, especially our guy Yo-Yo. He played with Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan for the Team USA in college. I want to see how they do, how they stack up. I think Miami's first in the ACC. They're 6-1 in conference play, so it's going to be a good test. And the last time they had a good test like that was Florida. They lost the series 1-3, so I want to see how they react. Another one is Texas Tech. I forgot who they're playing because I know they had a suspension. But I want to see Texas Tech. Texas Tech, I'm really surprised that they're supposed to be a down year in Lubbock. They've done really good. I think they only lost like 2 or 3 games. So that's a team who I would like to see.
Okay, I'm pulling it up now. Who Texas Tech has this week? They got Texas.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a good game
in Texas, in Austin.
Good series.
Yeah, so
Texas too. After you guys, after they lost to the Augie Garrido series. For those who don't know, Augie Garrido coach at Cal State Fullerton, so they had the series there, so they called the Augie Garrido series. After that loss, they won like 7 straight. So they're finding their role right now. So is going to be good. Eric Kennedy is another name to look out. He's been really hot too.
Yeah. What's the and Julian, you may know the pitcher from he pitched against LSU for Texas. God, what's that kid's name?
The dude who struck out everybody.
Last name Johnson, I want to say.
I know. I can't remember. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that dude.
Yeah, I'm looking. Hold on, I'm finna tell you. Is his last name Johnson? Am I making it? No, LeBaron Johnson.
Yeah,
LeBaron Johnson. Yeah, I was a fan that night. Like I was torn. I was like, I don't want him striking, but he looked so good. The way he was doing it was amazing, man. So they just had to wait him out. But yeah, Julian, man, we talked almost an hour of baseball.
We gotta keep Julian on though.
We do.
One of other topics.
We do have to keep him on. You actually sent this to us, Julian. You're one of your favorite teams. But on Sunday, Willie Cager, he was a member of the Texas Western Championship team, 1966 championship team. He passed away on Sunday. That day was also the 57-year anniversary of them winning that championship. So our condolences to him, his family, loved ones, and everyone impacted by that. So
it was sad because I remember I told you guys off air on here, but I got to meet him. He signed one of my jerseys. Like, he was a very nice man. He always smiled. It was kind of sad to see he passed away on the anniversary of what they changed history for, not just only basketball, but for life in general.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just sad to see.
It's almost poetic though, right? You know what I mean? On the anniversary of like you said, making history, that he just transitioned on that same day. It's almost like you talk about they made a movie about it, but that's almost Hollywood ending in itself in a sense. But yeah,
and then for the people who don't know who he is in the movie Glory Road, he's the one that has heart problems.
Yep.
That's Willie Cager.
All right. We gonna one more and then Ant, this is
keep him on for that too. Man.
Yeah, we do gotta
keep him on the whole show, man.
Yeah. But I do want to say Louisiana native, former Grambling alum, Willis Reed.
318 native, man.
Yeah. Willis Reed passed away on yesterday. Was it yesterday? God,
it was yesterday.
Days seem to run together.
For those who don't know who Willis Reed is, you've all seen the video of him walking out Game 7 against the Lakers. Torn hamstring, pulled hamstring, whatever you want. But didn't play in Game 6, and that lost series was tied up 3-3 back at Madison Square for Game 7. He walks out. They didn't know if he was going to play or not. He walks out of the tunnel. Everybody goes wild. He makes the first 2 shots of the game. Doesn't score another point, but just his presence lifts the Knicks to victory. He gets the Finals MVP. 2 years later, they win another Finals. He wins the MVP of that, and that Knicks have never won, the Finals again. And a guy from small little bitty Hillco, Louisiana, went to school at Lilly, Louisiana. He said his hometown was so small it didn't even have a population. That's how, like for real. But he kind of sad in the sense that so many people don't really know about the greatness of who he was, and not only as a player but as a coach and a GM in the NBA. But he was a good man, and he'll be missed, especially in these parts.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Willis Reed was the first player to win the NBA MVP, Finals MVP, and All-Star MVP in the same season.
Yeah. He also took Grambling to the only NAIA championship also while he was there.
Wow. Now, we said we was going to keep him on. Gotta talk about this real quick. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna touch on this. LSU men's basketball. Today we've seen 3 players enter the transfer portal, or at least it's been 3. Justice Hill, Cornelius Williams,
Did not know that one.
and then the guy that came from Northwestern. God, and I forgot his name.
Kendall Coleman.
All 3 of them have entered the transfer portal. Yeah.
New Day H. I mean, it probably won't be the last, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah,
I mean, kind of need that though, because you got a bunch of guys on this team who probably aren't SEC caliber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, shout out to the Miami Hurricane, the Lady Hurricanes. Doing LSU a solid, man. On Monday. No, it was Monday. Monday. Miami's women's team beat number 1 seed region's number 1 seed Indiana, bounced them out the playoffs. They will now move on to the Sweet 16 to take on Villanova.
So we're not going to talk about the travel.
What travel?
Was it a travel?
I didn't see a travel.
Oh,
was it a travel?
Oh, okay. I said, I was watching the game after our show Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And I said whenever it happened, that's travel. But see, I couldn't really tell because the camera angle ESPN had really showed. But once I saw the alternate camera angle, she definitely moved that pivot foot up underneath her to give her a better lift. But referees didn't call it, so it ain't a travel, I guess. But she definitely traveled. But
I ain't see it.
But Indiana definitely hates y'all right now, Julian, because not only did y'all's women's team knock off them, y'all's men's team knocked off Indiana as well. So shout out to Coach Lord Nagel down there. He been around forever. He's had some good teams. He's had a bunch of players come in, but I think this might be his most talented, all around talented team. He's got some experienced guards who can really score. And they really a team that you don't really want to see coming down to this tournament.
Dave said double whammy.
Yeah, Coach L said this is his top 3 teams. It's last year's team and his 2013 team. His 2013 team should have won it all, but the guy broke his jaw during practice, and another guy tore his ACL in the same practice as well in the tournament practice.
Who was on that team?
Shane Larkin.
That team.
That team.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Hey, this old vet said, don't watch much basketball, but I see a lot of traveling that doesn't get called. Seen a couple of double dribbles too.
I ain't gonna lie.
Carry is something I'm like, y'all don't call that no more?
So the doctor told me I had to be less stressed,
Gotcha.
So I haven't watched the NBA in like 2 weeks because of that right there. Because I get more stressed out about them not calling carry and travel than I do anything else in the game. It's carrying is worse than traveling probably to me.
Yeah, it is.
Man, I had a double whammy on Monday because the girls were winning 40-28, and I saw the lead evaporate. So I watched the end of that one. Then I changed it, and I see Mexico take the lead. So in the World Baseball Classic, I'm happy. Then they lose in the next inning. I was like,
"Oh, that was the one when Japan won it in the walk-off."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one that Japan won in the walk-off.
Otani, the lead-off double by Otani, man.
Mm-hmm. Nick ain't on here tonight. The Lakers finna whoop the Suns. I'm just gonna throw it out there. We're clipping and sending to him. Lakers. Tell them I said the Lakers about to whoop the Suns. Now LSU Lady Tigers take on Utah in that same region. The winners of the LSU Utah game will play the winners of the Miami Villanova game. But how y'all feel, or how you feel about LSU against Utah? The chances.
The way Angel Reese playing right about now, I think they got a good shot. But right about now is whenever what I've been saying all year is really gonna come into a factor. Alexis Morris is gonna be the difference maker if LSU wants to go far. Because
Okay.
I mean, obviously, Angel Reese is averaging 30 and 15 or whatever it is right now. But
Ridiculous.
yeah, but
Ridiculous.
she can't. Sooner or later, she's gonna run up against teams who she can't,
Right.
carry you for the whole way, and that's when you need Alexis Flage and them to step up. But I like their chances a lot better right now than I did going into the tournament because of how good Angel Reese is playing right now.
Go ahead, Julian. I know you got some. You was gonna say
No,
something.
I think they're playing at where South Carolina plays, right?
Yep.
I think it's the mentality going in there, knowing you went there like months ago, you got beat really bad. Can you shake off what happened months ago and go into that place with a positive mindset and clearing everything what happened in the past and focusing in now?
I didn't
I
even
think
think about that.
That's
I
a good
think
point.
sometimes
I didn't even think about that.
Great point.
because sometimes you just think about what happened, you think about the atmosphere, won't be the same as the South Carolina, but you kind of hear everything. Just I think if you get the win versus Utah, everything kind of calms down for you.
That's a good point.
I promise I did not even think about that. They're gonna play
we
in
need.
the same building.
That's a good aspect of all that. Yeah, that's a good point.
But Angel Reese is gonna go in there a little bit. You know what I'm saying, with some good news. She just inked a new NIL deal with JanSport.
The backpack company?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, I guess they said she in her bed.
Yes, so because that's funny because she got the one with Coach. Now she got one with
yeah. Hey, however she can get it, more power to her.
Yeah, man, I love it, man. More power to her. But yeah, the Bayou Barbie, man. Looking forward to that. I'll tell you what I do like before we get ready to wrap up. I love that we've seen so much personality of this team, a lot more than we've seen former teams and stuff, a lot more than we saw last year. You got they brought in LaGritty.
Yeah.
And Kim Mulkey was doing the gritty. And it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Hers was better than Brian Kelly's. It was better than Brian Kelly gritty.
She's from Louisiana. She got a little bit of soul in automatically.
Yeah, a little bit. Man. She got a little Tony Satcheris in her. But trying to think and did you see the interview her and Flage was doing, like the which one most likely, and it was her and Flage, Angel Reese and Flage. That was pretty funny, man, because everything they was bringing up, she was like, that Flage, which one's likely to eat something out the floor? Flage was like, you ain't gonna play me like I dirty. I use 5-second rule. But yeah, man, that's but I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. I have hopes that they can at least win this one.
I mean, Indiana's out the way now.
Yeah.
I will say this though, Julian, y'all gonna have Villanova. That's gonna be a tough task.
Yeah,
you got a little lady over there who can fill it up.
Yeah, I do want to. This was what I was gonna bring up earlier, and I forgot to. I do it now. God dang it! It do it every time.
I'm about to say you about to bring travel.
The finalists for the Naismith Trophy, the women's finalists, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Elizabeth Kitley, and Maddie Seegers.
No disrespect, but I'm not gonna call any one of them 4 out. And I know one who I probably feel like I would take off for Angel Reese, but I'm not gonna say it.
I say it because somebody else said it earlier. Elizabeth Kitley.
I ain't gonna say it, but I just say Angel Reese is one of the 4 best women players in this country. I
still have not seen the criteria. What the criteria I did see. And Julian, I know you be finding the little effect
for the Wooden Award.
Yeah, for the names it was like a
it was same
2.0. leader in the community, on and off the court, good character and stuff like that. Kim Mulkey says she does have she's academically eligible. She's not in trouble.
But that's the thing. That's what I told you. LSU's academic requirement is
1.8.
So she could technically be in good standing with but not qualify for the next award.
Yeah.
I think she just like that viral moment, instead of helping her, it kind of hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
Where that ref gave her a technical. Like the ref should have sold the whistle right there.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think part of the way she carries herself on the court rubs some of the voters the wrong way.
And then talking about like let them play, that's another thing.
It goes back to those unwritten rules. You want them to be one way. This is a gentleman's game. This is a ladies' game. Man, bump all that, man. Let people play. This ain't like it used to be, man.
They're playing ball just like men playing ball. It's the same sport. They shouldn't have to play by different rules.
Yeah. Want to score a basket and curtsy? Man, shut up. Hate people get on my nerves, man.
They want them to put skirts back on and all that, man.
Play like what Kim Mulkey played in the whole warm up with the they look like the pajamas.
Yeah, got the little shooting shirts on.
Yeah, it's stupid, man.
A little pigtails.
Yeah, Julian, man, tell the folks where they can find you. What you got going on, man? Before we get up out of here.
Now you can just find me on Twitter. You guys put it on the link right there. I really don't tweet anything much. Like for my personal account, I just retweet stuff that I see. Good old throwback music, if you guys are into that. Just stuff like that. And sports.
All right. He said, Julian said, I'm a simple man. I don't do all that foolishness. But nah, man, we appreciate you as always, Julian, man. Look forward to having you back on. Ant, you got anything before we get up out of here?
Yeah, prayers up for Foster Moreau.
Foster Moreau, for those of you who don't know, Foster Moreau announced that he does have cancer. He's battling cancer. Prayers up to him, man. You know what I'm saying? Fight through this and get back, you know what I'm saying, to doing whatever he loves to do or whatever he wants to do. Most importantly, fight and beat this. So,
hey, man. Yeah.
Like the Raiders say, once a Raider, always a Raider.
There you go. Like that, man. We out. See y'all on Sunday. Deuces.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden Boot!